Chapter 236 just dropped, and I can't say this was a good chapter for Gojo fans, but I'll be translating some sections by myself to try give you the full context of this chapter. But without wasting any more time, let's get into it. So the previous chapter ended with Kusakabe and Yuji claiming Gojo's victory, proclaiming him as the strongest. But this chapter starts off with Geto saying yo to Gojo in his imagination. Gojo replies saying with an awful look to his face. But Geto continues to say, that's rude, the minute you see someone's face. Then his imagination continued on with Gojo, I told my students, when you die alone. Please let this be my imagination. Then Geto replying, either way, who cares? Then we get to see Gojo saying, it's not fine, about the father, but says that's fine, I left that to Shoko to handle. I'm gonna quickly say that I'm happy to see a conversation with Geto and Gojo like this again, but I didn't want it to happen in a situation like this. Now, the conversation continues with Geto asking, how was the King of Curses? Then Gojo answers that Sukuna was damn strong, and he didn't even go all in for it. But he's not sure even he could win, even if Sukuna didn't have Megami's curse technique. Geto is surprised that Gojo of all people admitted that he was potentially weaker than someone else. Gojo then continues to say, I thought I could relate to the solitary wretchedness better than anyone else. I loved them all and I was never lonely, but I guess there was a line somewhere between being a creature and being a person. You can make a flower bloom or love it, but you will never want the flower to understand yourself. Now I'll continue on to translate the spoilers, but let's just say it's just quite shocking for Gojo fans. Gojo says he gave his everything, his trained body, the techniques he learned, the talent he brushed, inspiration and explosive powers. He says he wanted them to reach Sukuna and hopes it will reach to him. 絶対的な強者、それゆえのごとく、あなたに愛を教えるのは。It was fun, Gojo says. He feels sorry for Sukuna because he didn't give his all to Gojo. Geto says that he made him feel jealous, but if Gojo is satisfied with it, then he's good. Gojo says he would have been satisfied if Geto was also there to give him a slap on the back to motivate him. Gojo says he's glad that what killed him is not time or disease, but someone stronger than him. Nanami chimes in to say it's disgusting to hear all of that from Gojo because he sounds like a samurai general. Nanami says he once talked with Geto about leaving all the jobs to Gojo, but then Haibara says it's within the margin of error, Geto and Gojo. I told Geto a long time ago that wouldn't it be okay with Gojo alone. Then Nanami adds, Gojo did not wield sorcery to live or to protect something, but rather he was a pervert who exercised only to satisfy himself. Then Haibara adds that it's something everyone noticed but didn't say out loud. Nanami says he won't justify Gojo's last moments, but will feel sympathy for him. Gojo thanks Nanami for that, but then Nanami adds, sometimes curses keep people alive. When Gojo asked Nanami how was it in his last moment, Nanami answers that he once asked Mei-san about it, and she had suggested to 1. Move north if you are looking for a new side of yourself, or move south if you want to stay as who you are. Then Nanami says he chooses south without a doubt. His last moments wasn't so bad thanks to Haibara too. Now this is just sad to read because we all know how Nanami's last moments were in Shibuya arc. Then Gojo says his farewells to everyone, including Yagagakucho, and says as a joke, I thought there was no such thing as a death without regrets for Jujutsu sorcerers. Then cuts to a panel with Gojo lying on the ground with his body cut in half. Now I need time to process this because I was a one big Gojo fan, but to see him like this, lifeless on the ground, just makes me so sad. But I'll continue on with the translation. We see Sukuna explaining Mahoraga's adaptation. Adaptation by Mahoraga, once received, begins a gradual analysis and is completed over time. This was also discussed in previous chapters where Yuji and that were wondering whether it's time or experience that is necessary for Mahoraga's adaptation. Although, if it continues to receive further attacks during that time, even the sorcery once adapted will never complete its analysis and will continue to adapt further. Now this is just way too overpowered in my opinion, because he's basically saying that even if Gojo is dead now, the power of the Limitless will be adapted to a state that even if there was another 6 eyes and Limitless user, Mahoraga's adaptation will be at a point that they wouldn't be able to do anything on them. Now back to Sukuna. What I wanted from you, Mahoraga, was an example or role model, and a model for breaking your invulnerability. Initially, Mahoraga, who had adapted to Gojo's invulnerability, had altered his own curse energy to neutralize and invalidate his invulnerability. And when Mahoraga shot the slash, it wasn't the same as Sukuna. It expanded the curse technique's target to not just Gojo, but the space, the world itself, and cut through Gojo. Now this is an incredible feat from Sukuna, because this implies that there's basically nothing he can cut in the world anymore, giving him the ultimate attack to anything. Then Sukuna says, good job Gojo Satoru, I'll never forget about you. As Sukuna says, don't let me down, narrative explains that without any moment of feeling sorrow, the one that came in was Thunder God Kashimo Hajime, and then the chapter ends there. Now that was a one-of-a-kind chapter, having a death of one of the biggest and strongest characters in the series, and I think it will still take time for some people to get over Gojo's death. Now we can see more of the Jujutsu High members shine, and I think Gege once said in an interview that either one dies and all live, or all live and one dies. But seeing this, I have a feeling it might lead to a lot of Jujutsu High members dying in the future, but I'll need to go over that some other time. But I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you soon.